Senator. I share your concern there.
Senator Hoeven.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chris, as you've talked about, deploying the latest, greatest technologies is how we produce more energy, more cost-effectively, more dependably with the best environmental stewardship, not only here at home, but when we implement those technologies, the world follows. So that's actually the global solution. How do we actually bring folks along on that where they're skeptical, like in fossil fuels? If they're skeptical of fossil fuels and so forth, how do we demonstrate to them that that technology where we lead and we have the best environmental stewardship actually benefits globally? How do we convince them? What can you do?
Senator, thank you for the question. Thank you for your opening remarks as well. This is tough. I've spent my whole adult life engaged in dialogues about energy. When I went to MIT to work on fusion energy, I worked on solar energy at UC Berkeley. My whole thing is we want more energy in the world because it's what makes people's lives better. And you have to understand that there isn't dirty energy and clean energy. All energies are different, and they all have different trade-offs. Different people have different weights or evaluations of trade-offs. Different geographies or locations have climates more favorable to this energy versus that energy. So it's a complicated dialogue, which means it's not easy to get people to share this broader perspective on it. I think we're seeing a little bit of that in passionate, well-meaning, wonderful people that have been sitting in the hearing room today. But one of the things I've worked on is to try to just assemble the numbers and the data. And when I was born, the world got kind of a mid-80% of its total energy from hydrocarbons. And I was born, as we know, pretty much very close to 60 years ago. 60 years ago in a few hours right now. But today, total global primary energy is sort of low to mid-80%. So global demand for energy has grown a lot. We've brought a lot of new energy technologies along, thankfully, or we wouldn't have as much energy as we have today. But it's proven very hard to displace hydrocarbons in the global energy system. And I'll say one last thing, Senator, and turn it back to you. The other perspective I think that's important to look at is 1 billion people live lives like us. We get to wear fancy clothes made out of hydrocarbons. We get to use motorized transport and travel to visit our family, and we have warm houses in the winter, and we have cool houses in the summertime. But that's 1 billion people in the world. There's 7 billion people in the world that don't live lives anything like we do. And I've traveled to 55 countries. And one thing I know, those 7 billion people, they want this. They want what we have. And of course, they should get what we have. And through market forces and improvement and leadership, particularly leadership from the President-elect Trump, I think we're going to see growing, more abundant energy resource coming out of our country and hopefully out of the world so that everyone else can live lives like we do.
And I think it's really important that you are a voice for that because you'll have a platform to convince people and to explain what you just explained here. All different types of energies have strengths and weaknesses, but when we deploy these technologies, we lead the way. More energy, higher standard of living, and better environmental stewardship. And that's really what you're all about, rather than folks trying to say, well, we can't have this and we gotta only have that. And so that's a big role for you to play. And following on that, you worked on hydraulic fracturing and so forth. It was technically feasible, but it wasn't economically feasible, right? Same thing with other things like, as the President's talked about, clean coal technology. We've addressed SOx, NOx, mercury, and now CO2. Will you commit to working with us to address the carbon capture, the CO2 capture, not only to address CO2 concerns, but also to use it as a resource for additional oil recovery? Our state's leading in that area. You know that. I want you to touch on that and then respond to whether you will come with me to the University of North Dakota, the Energy and Environmental Research Commission there, and see what we're doing and work with us on things like Project Tundra to do this.
Thank you, Senator.
All in 10 seconds, I'm sorry.
My answer is a resounding yes.
Great. Thank you.
Senator Padilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Look, folks, we've all seen the